evening, listeners, and welcome to another spine-chilling episode of Strange Darkness Radio. I'm your guide, Benson, and tonight we delve into the shadowy realms where the supernatural meets the sensual. Yes, you heard that right. We're exploring the mysterious and often controversial phenomenon known as spectrophilia, the attraction between humans and ghosts. Throughout history, tales of ghostly encounters have captivated our imaginations. But what happens when these encounters take a turn for the intimate? Believe it or not, some of our favorite celebrities have shared their own experiences of ghostly lovers. From unexpected caresses to full-blown spectral seductions, these stories are as fascinating as they are eerie. Let's start with the ever-bold and unapologetic pop star, Kesha. In a 2012 appearance on Conan, Kesha revealed that she went to the bone zone with a ghost. She described the encounter as a sexy time, even though she didn't know the spirit's name. Next, we have the legendary actress Lucy Liu, who shared her ghostly tryst with Us Weekly back in 1999. Liu recounted how a spirit made love to her while she was napping on a futon, describing the experience as sheer bliss and claiming she felt everything before the spirit floated away. And who could forget the late Anna Nicole Smith? The model and reality TV star told FHM magazine that a ghost would crawl up her leg and have sex with her at an apartment in Texas. Initially frightened, she eventually welcomed the amazing sex the spirit provided. But it's not just the ladies who have had these spectral encounters. Dan Aykroyd, known for his role in Ghostbusters, has also claimed to have experienced intimate moments with a ghost. He described light foreplay with a spirit that turned him on, adding a unique twist to his already extensive paranormal interests. These stories might sound unbelievable, but they highlight a curious intersection of the paranormal and the personal. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the accounts of these celebrities offer a glimpse into a world where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur in the most unexpected ways. So, sit back, dim the lights, and prepare to be both intrigued and unsettled as we dive deeper into the world of spectrophilia. You're listening to Strange Darkness Radio, where the supernatural is always just a whisper away. Stay tuned, because up next, we'll hear more about these ghostly encounters and discuss what might be behind these spectral seductions. Don't go anywhere. The night is just beginning.
What a way to start a show. Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello there. Wow.
That was a great intro. I love the sexy music.
That is
sexy
too
Latin
funny.
music.
Yes, you are listening to Strange Darkness Radio. We decided to let Benson start off with our show topic of the night since it's so crazy and out there. You know, it does happen, so they say, and we're going to take you guys down this rabbit hole, but you are listening again to Strange Darkness Radio. Thank you for joining us tonight. Ladies, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing A-okay. Can't wait to get into this very, very juicy topic.
Yes, it's Amy, it should be right up your alley. Wait. You like violence and sex, and what did you say? Something about something. I forgot your movie.
Oh,
she's
just to be
with the entity. So
just to be clear, I do not like violence.
Whatever you say.
In a movie, I like
we are
violence.
talking about.
I don't want
life.
it in my personal life. I don't want it in real life. I am not an advocate for violence, just on TV. Just
how did you put
disclaimer.
It though? Yeah, come on. One, she could be totally, just a librarian, a church woman. So what is said on the air may not be in reality. Just FYI, people out there,
really
don't take it to heart. Exactly.
Well, I've had
I don't
an
know
aura
about you, Amy.
reading. I had an aura reading and my numerology reading, and I described a psychic encounter. So I've shared a little bit.
Oh, you shared a lot. More than me, that's for sure. I've not
Yeah,
shared
that
anything.
is actually true. Yes, no, way more than Bobby. Let's just get that out there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And I thank you for doing that. And I have a lot more stories to tell and share as we move forward in this world of the paranormal. But Carolyn, so how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I just can't wait to get into the topic and hear Amy talk about the entities since she loves it so.
Yes, we have a lot of kind of crazy topics.
Okay,
tonight.
again, love.
Amy,
More like fascinated.
Amy is killing me.
Fascinated.
Amy, everyone loves you out there.
Best.
They know it's with a grain of salt, and for sure it's entertainment. And, your personality is amazing as it comes across. So no one's taking it serious. Amy is not out there, as a hit woman and doing all kind of crazy things. She's very nice. She's a mother. She's loving, and she's quiet to really, trust me, she doesn't do much. But anyways, I digress.
What is that
how
supposed to
that
mean?
sounded exactly. I don't do much.
You don't do crazy things out there. You're not on the
She's really
bar
boring.
tables. Exactly.
Kind of lame.
Yes, exactly. And I'm giving them both sides.
I think the Ouija board
hey,
said you were boring, Bobby. So
I am boring.
let's
I
just
love it.
go with
no,
that.
yeah, that's for sure.
Projection.
But what's happening is I'm giving them both sides. So they're like, which is it? Is she really a librarian or is she really a hit woman by night? So they'll never know. So that's
Didn't the Ouija board say when
What's
we
that?
asked who was craziest out of the three of us that it went to the A? Kinda
No,
no, unfortunately.
That went
Carolyn.
straight to the CA.
That would be you.
Who is capable of evil?
Or who should we be the most scared of? I think
Yeah,
Exactly.
that one was inconclusive.
Yeah, and we're always messing with Carolyn anyway, so now it's Amy's turn tonight. But
I know we're gonna rotate on that. Yes.
yeah, exactly. No, it's all love and fun for sure. But yeah, tonight it is a serious thing too, because the side of what you hear when it comes to different actors and actresses doing things with ghosts that you would never think possible, if at all it actually ever happened. There is the side of unwanted things happening to you that you cannot control. And therein lies the whole story with the entity that Amy will get into. So as we do make light of our situations and fun of what we do and stuff, we don't want to make light of some things that are really going on out there that people are experiencing, things happening to them against their will. So that's for sure. I want to just let everyone know that as a disclaimer and everything else. So, okay. So for tonight, we're definitely going to get into the whole, I guess, source code for spectrophilia of what it is, what the term is. It encompasses both sexual attractions to ghosts or spirits, whether it's people actually who dream about having different relations, I guess, with ghosts or relationships. We do have a story of Paulo Flores. I'll go over her name again later. I hope I don't get that wrong. To where she actually had a relationship with a ghost for 20 years, believe it or not. So she says, which is very documented, that story. So we'll cover that also.
I was trying to remember that story because I heard about it on the news or on like another podcast a while ago.
Yeah.
And I was hoping one of you two would bring that up tonight.
Yeah, no, I did. When I saw the story, I was like, how is that even possible? The point of not that it happened, which is crazy in itself to a degree, but the point that she never saw the ghost's face. And once she saw his face, she was repelled and she cut everything off from that standpoint. So to go
Oh, I didn't know that.
After 20 years, she saw his face And broke up with him?
Yes, 19 years and 11 months.
Ugly.
Yeah. He had fangs and the face of a gargoyle. Well, she should have asked to see his face way earlier in that whole relationship. That's all I got to say about that.
So
Sounds more like a demon.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
funny. Not funny, but
So
that's weird.
as far as culturally, there are many cultures around the world that have the myths and that include, sexual encounters between humans and supernatural entities. That goes into creatures like the succubus and the incubi. For Western folklore, the spirits, they have various ties into African and Asian cultures. We'll, like I said, dive into that whole thing. Carolyn, did you want to say anything about the particular succubi and incubi, which are succubus and incubus? But
Yeah, so a succubus is, I think, the female version of this entity that kind of seduces men or rapes men and tries to steal their essence. And then an incubus is the male version that rapes or has sex with women. And I think that their motive is usually that they're trying to impregnate the woman. So these are more like demonic entities. And like you were kind of just saying, stories of spectrophilia or like sexual encounters with spirits or entities go back like as long as people have been around. Like there's been different versions of these stories forever. And I kind of categorized it in my research. So basically there's like consensual and then non-consensual spectrophilia. And it's interesting because spectrophilia is usually, it's always described as either being really, really incredible or like horrible, painful, traumatizing.
Yeah.
So
I thought spectrophilia was technically having that attraction and wanting sexual encounters. I mean, but there's different levels of spectrophilia, I
encompasses both.
technically, yeah,
Both.
you're kind of right because philia, like that Latin root word, does mean liking something.
Mhm.
But I think now it's kind of just like an all-encompassing term that we use to describe like any sexual encounter between a human and a non-human entity.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
go ahead, Carolyn.
no, I just think it's interesting, that dichotomy of like it's either super amazing and people will like fall in love with these spirits, and like the woman you just talked about, they'll have like real relationships with these spirits, or it's the other way around where they're being attacked or haunted and it's not enjoyable, like it's like they're being raped. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. It can manifest in various ways, whether it's dream encounters that are vivid, whether it's haunted situations to where you have actually a apparition or a ghost figure who's preying on you as you're sleeping, which is just wild and wakes you. I'm not sure how that goes, where, initially are they thinking that it's actually the spouse, or I don't know, I'm not sure. It's the stars that were notable cases in these particular scenarios is, again, Anna Nicole Smith, the late model and reality star, recounted to FHM magazine in 2004 that she had repeated sexual encounters with a ghost. She initially thought was her boyfriend, but later realized it was a spirit. Now, how that happens, I don't know if that's is intoxication involved in that scenario. Like, how does that happen? I'm not really sure. But and again, I don't know if these. One thing I couldn't find in a lot of these to where was it full body apparitions? Were these people live in the flesh, or at least their bodies visible, or was it all unseen type scenarios? Because if it's live and they're impersonating someone, I can see how something like that would take place and they believe it's their spouse or boyfriend, opposed to just some glowing person or invisible person. I know the entity, as we'll get into, was invisible And that was stated, but in these interactions, it's not really stated. But at some point, they became aware that it was not a boyfriend or a human in the human sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Anna Nicole Smith, God rest her soul, she. I don't know. She was a little, if you watch some of her reality shows, she was a little out of it at times. So I kind of wonder at what point in time this happened to her in her life. Like, was it early on, or was it when she was like on a lot of pills and alcohol?
Yeah.
And that kind of makes a difference in, I guess, how I feel about her point of view on that whole story. And not that I don't think that's possible. I definitely think that's possible, but kind of would be interesting to know, like, at what point in her life that happened to her.
Yeah, that would be.
I definitely ran into some cases when researching that seemed like it was either like a sleep paralysis thing, or like maybe the person was
sex sleep paralysis. I've heard of the old hag syndrome, where the old hag is on your chest and you can't move, but not anything involving any type of sex at all in sleep paralysis wise.
I don't know. There was this lady that went on Oprah that was talking about something that happened to her, and the more she kept explaining and the more they kept asking her questions, I was thinking like, oh, this sounds more like a dream that you, wet dream.
That is one of, dang.
She was like an older lady, so maybe she just had never experienced that before. I don't know.
That is one of the things, though. They come into you in dreams, and then the dreams seem really vivid and real. And now whether or not you're going through that situation and things happen in your dreams. So I don't know. I didn't know women can have what you just said, but that's interesting.
No, they can. And I can kind of understand because, we've all had that happen where not necessarily that, but like where we're kind of in a between being asleep and awake, and you just kind of don't really know what's real. So I can understand how something like that could happen.
No, it's never happened.
Yeah.
It's never happened to me.
I'm not talking about the sex part.
No, I'm talking about to where you think you're still in a dream, but you're actually up type deal.
Having a vivid
like you're
dream.
Seeing
I've had a vivid dream
like
to
a really
where
vivid dream and you kind of wake up.
Yeah. My vivid dreams, I don't want to wake up.
I think that's the tough part.
Yeah.
You don't wake up in your vivid dreams?
No, I said I don't want to wake up in my vivid dreams. I want to stay in that vivid dream, but then I wake up, it's like, damn. But that in between stage, I've heard that happen a lot with people. I know I've been tired to where I've probably fell asleep on the sofa or something like that. And then I went to go get up, and I was like really tired to where I was like, I'm not really gonna get up. You keep trying to get up or turning the TV on or off or whatever. Yeah, you just fall right back to sleep like that, but never in a dream state.
See, I've woken up from dreams and been like confused, like I don't know where I am, I don't know who I am. Like
yeah.
Oh wow.
I think that's the thing with like a lot of these spectrophilia reports is it's usually like they're in bed, so it could be one of those things that maybe it was just a vivid dream. Like how do they know that it was real?
Yeah, like they're having I'm gonna put this nicely. They're having a romantic dream, and then it transitions into their reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the case you described though, 20 years is excessive. So that could be a whole different thing, a 20-year relationship.
Yeah, I think that was Julio in a sheet and creeping in.
Is this the one where the ghost told her she couldn't have other boyfriends?
Yes.
We talked about this case before, didn't we?
Yeah, well, hang on. We're not into it yet. Just hang on. Let's get some of these stars out of the way.
in a different episode, though, didn't we?
No, I don't
talk about this case.
We didn't talk about spectrophilia. No, not at all.
No, just this lady that had the 20-year relationship. I'm pretty sure we talked about her.
It. I don't think we went into depth because we'd have to have covered that subject. But let's talk about Coco Austin, which is Ice-T's wife. You guys know the well-known rapper. She recounted an experience with a perverted ghost that tried to get intimate with her. She felt her dress being pulled up and a presence by her ear, like soft breathing. So that's interesting. It didn't go all the way, but someone tried to, put moves on Ice-T's chick.
She stopped it though in its tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
How did she stop it?
I don't know. She probably said
she
Jesus,
swatted it away and pulled her pants back on. Yeah. I'm curious about how did she stop that? That's interesting.
Run out of the house is, it's the best bet. But let's talk about the man, the myth, Bobby Brown. Yes, the R&B singer revealed in a 2016 interview with Robin Roberts on 2020 that he had sex with a ghost after purchasing a spooky mansion in Georgia. Interesting.
Can we get like some people that are more normal?
Dang, she's throwing shots. Amy be shooting from the balcony. Dang. She's like,
I believe Bobby Brown.
You believe him?
You do?
Yeah.
You don't think he was on anything, on alcohol or, any other substances?
That's when you're the most vulnerable. That's when demons like to attack. So.
That is true. Well, but again, we're assuming that it's a succubus and opposed to just a standard ghost, I guess, or something demonic. Because like the movie Ghost, it could have been just a regular ghost that lived in this mansion, was older, and she passed away young. Because at that time, old mansions in Georgia, a lot of people passed away at early ages due to all kind of different things, ailments and stuff that were curable at the time, but didn't have medical care. Okay, one last one we'll get into is Kesha, the pop singer, claims she went to the, as Benson put it, the bone zone with a ghost during a 2012 appearance on Conan. She described the encounter as a sexy time, but clarified it wasn't exactly sex, so they were just fooling around.
Have you slept with a ghost?
I did go to the bone zone with a ghost. I mean, do you want details?
Yes! Ghost of who? Was it a ghost of a famous person? Was it like...
I don't know his name, but he was in my house.
You don't know his name?
Well, he's a ghost, and so he just started, caressing me like this.
Oh. This story's getting better. And so then things proceeded from there.
Right, it was a sexy time. It wasn't like sex.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Don't even know the guy's name.
And Kesha did have a paranormal show, and I believe she talked about it on her paranormal show also. I don't think that's running anymore. But yeah, it's really interesting on all the things that literally go bump in the night that people have, experienced. I know I have a friend, and I won't say the name, that believe they were having this type of experience, and they believe it wholeheartedly. And it's hard to try to talk to a person like that to say, okay, well, did you think about this, or did you look into this or look into that? Because you want to kind of be respectful of what they're telling you, but you also are very inquisitive on how all the variables of things that you do with another human that you find it difficult or hard to do with an entity or a ghost. So but the person said it happened, so I believe them, and yeah, it's interesting.
There is a book that I read by Anne Rice. It was a series of books. Was it The Witching Hour? I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but so I read that as a teenager back when, I was in my wishing to be a vampire phase. And there was one of the main characters was, I think she was visited every night by, I guess we could call it an entity, like a male witch. I forget his name, Lasher or something like that. But the way Anne Rice described this entity and the way he seduced all these women in it, there was a lot of spectrophilia going on. That made it like so seductive. I don't know if anyone's ever read the book, but I was like, oh, the way she described like this male entity, like I wouldn't mind meeting like an entity like that.
Yeah.
I don't really want that to happen, people. But
See,
I'm just
so
saying the way she wrote it.
As I gave the disclaimer in the
very
beginning, sorry, Amy, I just have to say this. You see why we say what we say when Amy's doing her thing. She falls into her own traps.
Yeah, no, in the story, I think, God, it was so long ago. I'm just saying she wrote him as very seductive, and I'm just saying a lot of these cases that
very
you have
romantic.
brought up. Yeah,
I think that there's like an aspect to spectrophilia that is like a very attractive, because it's like, oh, this spirit, you don't know what they look like. They could be super good looking. They chose you out of all the other people, like there is something kind of.
Right. And let's just put a disclaimer though, as long as it's consensual, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about spectral rape or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about if it's consensual. Yeah, nobody wants that. If it's consensual and you have this seductive, like
I'm not consenting to anything. Not at all. Not me. Nope.
No?
Never.
That Ouija board was right about you, Bobby.
What was it? What was it about? What, I'm boring? Are you crazy? I'm not
boring.
I'm not some witch, hag, chick, whatever that I can't even see. Oh,
what if it's not a hag though?
Swamp trees.
Yeah, what if it's the ghost from Ghostbusters?
From Ghost? Slimer? Like, what are you talking about here?
The ghost that tries to pull off Bill Murray's pants.
Oh, you mean the one before she
it was an attractive one, right? An attractive.
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah, what if it's like a really seductive, that'd be a whole different thing. We're not talking about old hags.
Amy, it's dead.
What?
It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's a spirit. It is something from the ether. So
trapped between worlds.
Just try it out, huh?
Dead.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. It's not of the living. It's not of flesh and blood.
Well, if it was like an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10,
we're going down to the blood bank and you're going to get tested.
Personality.
No, gotta get tested.
The whole package, except for the body part.
I'm not taking no chances. You're getting tested.
I don't know if I believe that one, but okay, we'll just go with that.
Wait.
There's another.
Go what? What are you saying, Amy? What are you saying about?
I'm saying if you were woken up by this, like the most gorgeous being you had ever seen in your life.
Okay.
You'd be like, get away from me. No, I can't do this.
Yeah. Come on, Bobby.
I would probably run or pass
Be realistic.
Yeah,
you guys are tripping.
Obviously, we all know what me and Carolyn would do now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, you guys don't understand. It's still a ghost. It's still that. And you know what's so funny that you say that though? That's what my thing is. I'm wondering, were these people, did they appear in human form, or were they, because they couldn't
Never
be, you wouldn't think they would be unseen. Like it was just nothing. And then you just felt all these things, but you couldn't see it.
None of the cases I came across ever said they could see them, and some of them said they couldn't even feel them, but some of them said they could like feel a person or hands, but I didn't see any where they said they could actually see the other
that would be
the
odd.
ghost or whatever.
That would, because you don't even know what it is. I mean, like that's a surprise. You know what I mean? Like how would you even know what to grab? You know what I mean?
I'd have to see it.
That's what I'm saying.
If I didn't see it, then no, that would not be okay. But if I saw it and it was like looking like I don't know,
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt or something.
Exactly. Guessed it. Got him.
Yeah,
We
Brad
all
Pitt.
said Brad Pitt.
Yeah, in his golden years, yes. That might be I might give a little bit of pause to that one.
Yeah.
I mean, who
But
wouldn't?
Right.
but yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's I just understand how it worked out with these people, as far as just the whole grabbing and all that stuff. But again, who knows? I haven't experienced it. When one of these gals experience it, they'll let us know how it worked out for them. But okay, so let's get off the star topic. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this show tonight, and let's go ahead and get into it.
Tonight, Amy kicks off our discussion on the entity. We uncover the harrowing story of the Doris Bither case, a haunting that captured the attention of both skeptics and believers alike in 1974. Known also as the entity haunting, this investigation took place in Culver City, California, and centered around Doris Bither, a woman tormented by terrifying paranormal phenomena. Her experiences were so intense and unexplainable that they inspired the 1982 horror film, The Entity. Join us as we explore the eerie events that plagued Doris Bither, the investigations that ensued, and the lingering questions about what truly happened in that haunted home.
Doris Bither's ordeal began in the summer of 1974, when she moved into a two-bedroom house on Braddock Drive in Culver City with her 3 sons and 1 daughter. She had recently divorced her abusive husband and was struggling to make ends meet. She also had a drinking problem and often brought home different men from the bars she frequented. One night, while she was arguing with one of her sons, she suddenly felt a cold breeze and saw a misty cloud forming in the corner of the living room. She then felt a sharp pain in her chest and fell to the floor. She claimed that she was being held down by invisible hands and felt something biting her neck. She screamed for help, but her children could not see anything attacking her. They only saw her writhing in agony and bleeding from her wounds. This was the first of many attacks that Doris Bither would suffer from the entities that haunted her home. She said that there were 3 of them, 2 small ones that held her down and 1 large one that raped her. She described them as malevolent and inhuman, with distorted faces and glowing eyes. She said that they spoke to her in a foreign language that sounded like Latin or Arabic. They taunted her, threatened her, and called her names. Doris Bither tried to escape from the entities by moving to different rooms or even different houses, but they always followed her. She also tried to fight back by using religious symbols, prayers, and rituals, but they only made the entities angrier. She felt helpless and hopeless, as no one could help her or believe her. The only person who took her seriously was Kerry Gaynor, a parapsychologist and assistant professor at UCLA. He had heard about Doris Bither's case from a bookstore owner who knew her personally. He decided to investigate it with his colleague Barry Taff.
All right, this is a very interesting story. Amy, take it away.
All right. So I have a little bit of different information as opposed to that whole narrative. And I'm actually mad at Bobby for going into that description. It's like half the notes that I have.
That's okay. We have to discuss how it goes, how, what we believe, what actually transpired, and break it down. So you're good.
Yes, I have a whole narrative. This case is...
I got to leave you guessing at some point in time. I got to keep you on your toes.
All right. This is one of the most fascinating cases I've ever researched. This is probably one of the main reasons why I'm so into the paranormal. But, as the narrative explained, this is about spectral rape. So it is actually a true story, as we learn, about a woman named Doris Bither. She claimed to have been sexually assaulted, as well as beaten by 3 spirits in the 1970s. This case is considered to be one of the most terrifying and intriguing cases in the paranormal field. So as mentioned, Doris, she was a single mother. She was described as having an alcohol use disorder. She had 4 children, all by different fathers. So she had 3 boys, 1 girl, ranging in ages 6 to 16. So the story begins with her and her children moving into a small house in Culver City, California. So the house was 100 years old at the time and was described to be in really bad living conditions. So it had a reputation of being haunted. So you can actually Google the actual address of the house if you want to see what it looks like today. It's a small house, but so basically, one day a woman came and knocked on the door. She was described as an older Hispanic woman, and she told Doris that she needed to leave the house immediately. The woman told her that when she was a young girl, when she lived on the house, when it was a farm, and that the house was very, very evil, and that she needed to leave. So that's all she said, and Doris never heard from her again. But she was terrified after she heard that. But she didn't leave. She probably had limited means to leave, so they stayed there. But shortly after, that's when the violent attacks began happening. Doris claimed to have been repeatedly attacked by 3 entities. So there were 2 smaller ones that would hold her down. And then there was 1 bigger muscular one that would sexually assault her. So her children, they would also be pushed and shoved. Objects would fly around the house, and Doris was constantly physically attacked. So one day, she overheard these 2 men talking in the bookstore. So they were, as mentioned, Kerry, Gaynor, and Barry Taff. They are, I don't know at the time, but in time, they became very renowned parapsychologists. And they were working at the now defunct parapsychology lab at UCLA. So what happened was she told them her story, looking for help, and they didn't believe her. However, they decided to go investigate her house, and that began what was to become a 10-week investigation. So the 2 men, along with other researchers, reported objects falling from shelves by themselves, strange lights appearing, cold zones, and bad odors. And they actually saw bruises on her inner thighs and all over her body. And then people outside of her family corroborated strange activity at the house. So there is one very famous instance that happened. So Doris began cursing the spirits while there were actually 30 researchers crammed into her bedroom, and she began yelling for the entities to show themselves. So lights began flickering and manifesting, and then a green mist appeared. And it actually took the shape of the upper torso of a man, and it was a very muscular figure. So one of the researchers actually fainted after seeing this. So they actually did bring cameras and equipment there, but none of it came out on film. But there is actually a very famous black and white Polaroid photograph that you could see online, and what appears to be an arc of light hovering over Doris as she sits on her bed, and she's surrounded by all these researchers. So what's weird about this picture is that the arc is displayed over a 90-degree corner in her room. So it's weird because the light does not bend with the corner. It just looks like a smooth arc of light. So, if you look that up online, it's like a really famous picture. It's actually pretty creepy too, because she's sitting there. She's got her hand in her head in her hands, looking, kind of depressed or whatever. But it's very interesting.
You know what else is interesting? I'm sorry, I pulled up the
No,
picture
go
as you were
ahead.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, everyone else in the picture, Doris has her head, her head in her hands, like you said, but everyone else is looking at that light, almost like they saw something happening as the picture was being taken.
Yeah, no, they all said
They're looking directly at it.
Yeah, they all saw it. So, so there's like people that have corroborated her story, but unfortunately, I don't know what happened with the equipment, if it was just interference based on the situation and, the entities, or maybe did they make some mistakes with their filming? I don't know. There's like a whole topic on it about maybe things that they did wrong and why they couldn't get footage of it. But that's like a very, very fascinating picture. Like, what is this huge arc that's hovering over her, and why does that arc not bend into the corner? But
Yeah.
I think there's also like discussion on that whole thing too, and you can read all about it. Of course there's going to be skeptics on both sides, so you could read, the pros and the people that believe and people that don't believe. So it's pretty fascinating. So one of the other interesting things to know that we mentioned was she did have apparently an addiction to alcohol. And so the researchers did say that the paranormal activities appeared to intensify when she had been drinking. When she was sober, there was very limited or no activity. So I did read a theory, and not sure if it was from one of the investigators, but they were saying that because Doris had a turbulent relationship with her children, especially her sons, or maybe even men from the past, that maybe it manifested itself in the form of these three entities. So like her mental instability perhaps manifested these terrible events. And she may have even had strong psychic abilities that may have contributed to it. So that's pretty interesting.
That's a really interesting theory. Because when you first brought up all her well, I don't want to say family issues, but just, the having multiple husbands and just being a single mom and all the stress of that, I was kind of thinking, that would take a toll on a person.
Yeah, no, she grew up in a very abusive household. She was disowned by her family. All her children were by different men. She was a single mother, addicted to alcohol. So, she had a lot of demons, and, maybe because she had these strong psychic abilities, maybe just her mind was.
It's like a projection.
It could have been, yeah.
Like
so
a physical manifestation of
exactly. Yeah, no,
trauma.
and I think I have heard that theory, and I think maybe even one of the researchers may have thought that, or I don't know if it was initially or after, but they thought that there was something, a connection due to her dark past. But so anyhow, Doris, she eventually moved away from that house, but she did keep in touch with the researchers for a little bit. And she reported that the entities did follow her. And she even reported being impregnated by one of the spirits. So she had medical tests done, and they actually showed her to be suffering from it was either an ectopic pregnancy or a hysterical pregnancy, but there's not really too much on that. Yeah, there's not a whole lot on that, but she did claim to be pregnant by one of them.
You said a hysterical pregnancy?
Yeah, that's where a woman believes she's pregnant because she has all of the symptoms, but she's not actually pregnant.
Got it.
Sometimes it's the other way around, where they'll start displaying the symptoms of pregnancy because they have convinced themselves that they're pregnant. And there's been cases where women will actually start to get really bloated, and other people will actually think they're really pregnant.
Yeah.
But it turns out to not be. Yeah, it's pretty crazy phenomena.
Yeah, so I wish I knew a little bit more about that, but there's really like when you do research on her, she's very, very mysterious. But one of the most fascinating things that did come out was it was ghosttheory.com. They managed to do an interview with one of her sons, Brian Harris. And he did confirm that the entire family suffered attacks. He said he could hear his mother being raped in the room next to him. There were times that his mother was beaten by an unseen force in front of the children. He actually tried to intervene one night and he was thrown against a wall. He said he actually hated it when the researchers showed up to the house because the spirits would become very, very angry after they all left. He said, they would play certain music and the spirits would become agitated. And he actually did claim that the entire family possessed some form of psychic powers. So that's actually very interesting. So he said, he would see things like shadows and spirits here and there after that, but never anything as intense as that house in Culver City. So it's a pretty fascinating article, and it was actually nice to hear about to hear what happened from one of the children, just because the case is so. To me, it's very intriguing and mysterious. But eventually, she finally lost touch with the investigators. She did die in 1995 from pulmonary arrest. But, as mentioned, there is a book and movie that are inspired by the events that happened to her, The Entity. But it's not considered to be a completely factual account. I've talked about the movie. It never is, no, because like in the movie, and I don't know if in the book, that like in UCLA they built a replica of her bedroom, and they tried to crush the spirit with ice or something. That never happened. That's completely fake. So it was never anything as dramatic as that for the ending. But yeah, it was definitely one of the scariest and most traumatic movies that I've ever seen. I was a child when I watched it. And I probably
how old
been watching.
Were you?
I had 1980. I had to have been like 6 years old or something.
Well, only because
this was not a movie for children.
Why you like the movies that you like? So maybe that's the reason.
Right. Did your parents like drag you to it or something?
I would just watch them with my parents, and I've watched it more than once. But yeah, I have seen many a movie that I'm not supposed to watch, and I watch them with my parents. So that's probably why I'm
great parents. That's really cool. I know. That's a good thing.
I would not let my children watch that movie. By the way, this is not a movie for children.
Yeah.
So watched it now.
What's that? You cut out there, Carolyn.
Last time.
Oh, you're breaking up, Carolyn.
Say that again, Carolyn.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If you watched the movie now, do you think it would be just as scary or?
See, I really want to test that out. I have not watched it since then because it traumatized me so badly.
Oh, really?
But
Wait.
I cannot watch
You
that
haven't
movie,
watched it since 6?
I have not watched it since, but now as an adult, I really want to watch it. And I actually wanted to watch it yesterday. I told Bobby, but when I looked it up, I couldn't find it anywhere that it was streaming. It's not available anywhere. But
but remember to watch it too, and I can't find it either.
Yeah, you can't find it. So hopefully
You guys are not tech savvy, but I have it.
Send it to us.
Yeah,
I can't.
You're just watching it illegally, Bobby.
Amy, see, Amy is the one that you can't trust. She's the one that will dime you out. I thought she had my back.
What?
Just bleep that part,
exactly.
Bobby.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I would never do. Yeah, just bleep that out.
But
no one has to know.
Yeah, but no. When we did the interview with the semi-skeptic, the one guy, he said it was still pretty good. It held up pretty well. So I am actually wanting to watch it again and see if it's as terrifying as it was. Like Martin Scorsese named it as number 4 on his list of the most terrifying movies. Yeah, so
that's interesting.
This movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not promising anything. I don't know if it's going to be cheesy nowadays, but it was just so horrible and scary.
No, you guys
So,
should definitely watch it. It's a very interesting movie. But one thing I will say about drugs and alcoholism, you get to a level of just, at times of worthlessness and depression that supposedly demonic entities feed off of that and can, manifest, and it's like a beacon to them. And so I do believe that, in the state that she was in, that makes more sense that it would happen when she was in that state opposed to when she had more control of herself and what was happening in her home. So I definitely can see how something like that would...
It would target her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But...
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very, very fascinating. But yeah, this woman, she had a lot of demons in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know when I watched the movie all those years ago, I don't remember my age, but when I was watching the movie, I thought there was something up with her son. That was my big thing. And then even learning more about it, with her oldest son, I always thought something was interesting, whether he was trying to again, supposedly they had these particular, I don't know if it was psychic power or what they actually thought they had the ability to do, but I thought he could have been preying on her as far as, just the situation with all the dads, the situation with all the men that she was bringing to the home, her alcohol use and drug use, just different things that was going on with herself and him as the oldest child, seeing this and the parent not having control. Could he have been manipulating her in whether it was manifesting these situations to happen to her? Like, this is what you want, Mom. Okay, you know what? You like this, so therefore I'm manifesting X, Y, and Z to attack you or for this to happen. Or like
egging it on. If she says one little thing happens and then he kind of, feeds into it and causes her to just...
No, I mean literally manifesting these entities to attack his mother. It's just the way it
like to punish her.
Yeah, exactly for just being
that's
unfit.
An interesting thought. It could be possible because the theory is that maybe she had enough strong psychic powers to manifest, but maybe her children did. Yeah, they all had very turbulent relationships with her. So, and maybe they hated her. They hated their life. They were angry. That's an interesting theory, actually, Bobby. So that's possible. Yeah, that could have been if they all had psychic abilities. So
yeah.
And the son was like a big part of proving that it was true, right? Because he was one of the main witnesses. Or he's just a big part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, her children were pretty, they all corroborated everything. They were attacked themselves, and they said, they would hear her being raped, and they would see her being beaten, but they're all very, very private. Like, only one son, as far as I know, one son only came forward and did that interview, and the author of that article that came out with the son, he actually said he was working on a book about her, and he had so much information on her, but he never came out the book. I have looked for updates. I've been on that page. I'm like, you have so much information that nobody else has about her. Like, where's this book? I would love to read that book. So I almost wanted to email him too and say, where's this book at? Yeah.
Write your book.
Get him on the show, Amy. Get him on the show.
Yeah, no, I thought about that. No, that would be a great interview. I would love to. Yeah, I think we should reach out to him too. Yeah. I was thinking about that.
Be very interesting.
See what happened to his book and what other information he's got on that.
Or just interview him about the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. But yeah, that's one thing that I can't get enough of. I'm like, I wish there was a lot more information on that whole case. Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks. The Skype ghosts got us, but we're back. Now back to the show.
Wait, what? Oh, I didn't hear you froze,
no, I didn't
Bobby.
say,
What did
that's
you
good.
say?
I'm glad I froze. I didn't say anything, but I'm glad I froze. I was just I was just saying.
Why?
Nothing.
What did he? say something,
I did not say
Carolyn,
anything.
that I missed?
Nope.
No, I didn't
Nope.
hear him. He's just laughing.
I'm just laughing.
Oh, yeah, what's so funny about
To
that?
himself.
This is a private joke you've got going on.
I don't know, but yeah, let me ask you guys, and start with Carolyn. So, do you think that this was a real scenario as far as these things happening to her, or do you think it was a manifestation that was in her mind, as far as whether be it schizophrenic, be it split personality? Who knows? I mean, it can run the plethora of different scenarios.
So many different things. That's tough because I really don't know the story. All I know is what Amy just told us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I found some things when I was researching for the topic, but I had never really heard about the story until, Amy's talked about the movie before. But I do think it's interesting that she had all these issues and all these demons. I think it's interesting that she was an alcoholic, but that could either be an argument for or against it, because it's like, oh, well, maybe she was just out of it and imagining things and having dreams or having psychosis and she was depressed and all this stuff. But then at the same time, those are the exact things that invite these demonic things to kind of come and mess with you. So I'm 50-50. I have no idea. It does. I also do think it's interesting how many people were involved as far as like researchers and people who were actually investigating this story. So I don't know, maybe I'm like 70-30. I believe it, I guess.
Okay, what about you, Amy?
I think there's something to it, because the woman that came to her house when she first moved in told her this house is evil and you need to leave.
That's true.
I mean, so it could have been like maybe there was something to the house. Though I will say the people that live there now, they said nothing has ever happened to them. Isn't that interesting? But you never know. So it could be, some people just attract that type of energy. But it could have been both. Like there was scary things going on in that house, but also because of her trauma and demons, like that made it manifest even more so. But I definitely believe something was going on there that wasn't all just completely her
made up
causing it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just like with yourself, Amy, when you had that scenario at your home and you were younger, and then luckily it went away by you, invoking it and saying leave and all that good stuff, and you didn't have anything happen since in that home. So it is interesting how things can move on, or it can even stick with the person. I mean, when we say she goes and no one hears from her, doesn't mean she's not still being tormented. It's just that she's not
true.
telling her story because she knows the gravity and everything that comes with it, which I hope didn't happen to her, to where she just, this is my life. You know what I mean? And which would be just god awful. And to where she can never get actual help from her situation. So I definitely hope she was able to find peace.
Bobby, do you believe the story? What do you think?
Yes and no, only because the only thing that I question is the source of it was only happening when she was in a drunken state or she was chemically imbalanced. And so when you're being haunted like that, and especially that type of haunting, it never stops. And, I do respect Barry Taff and Kerry Gaynor to say what they're seeing and have these different experiences. And so I do believe there was something paranormal or supernatural that was happening in the home. But the whole process of her being raped and all those particulars, I think could have been a manifestation of what was going on in her mind or what was being projected to her also. So that I'm just not sure about. But I just believe when you're haunted like that, manifestation takes place when you are at your lowest, when you're on drugs or alcohol. They weave their way into your life to make you depressed, but they never leave unless someone gets them out. But that's always there, regardless if you're happy, regardless if you didn't drink that day, regardless of what you did not do.
So you're saying it would happen whatever state she was in.
Exactly.
Like if it was a real story, it would have happened whether she was sober and when she was drunk.
supernatural, I believe, is still happening, but it could have been one of the kids or something that was being put on her when she was in that state. You know what I mean? Opposed to, like Amy was saying, her own abilities. When you are in the state that she was in of depression and all the things that was going on in her life, you weren't thinking the best of yourself. You're thinking the worst of yourself. And whatever comes with that, you're like, I deserve this. This should happen to me. I'm worthless. I'm all these things, right? And and there's no one there to pull you out of that. And then your kids are saying, yeah, you're right. You are, shit. And so imagine that. You know what I mean? So I can imagine that because, again, imagine what power it took for her not to take her own life or just say, you know what, I give up. Leave the kids. I'm walking away. I'm out of here. So so there's a lot that goes into that. So again, I'm not sure of the spectrophilia portion of the situation, but I do believe there was something supernatural happening in that home. That's my take on it.
Yeah. And she actually did claim it followed her to other homes as well. Just not as bad. For whatever reason, it was the worst at that house. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think I even read something, the guy that was going to write the book, he said when she passed away, as soon as she passed away, the same floating lights went above her that happened when she was alive. So
wait, who said that? Her son?
One of the sons said that. Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, some lights floated above her that looked exactly like the ones that happened when they were being terrorized. So it's almost like it was.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was just her the whole time.
Yeah,
projecting, and it was her energy.
It could have been, or maybe she was, or maybe they just haunted her relentlessly till the day she died. Like,
maybe it was supposedly, unfortunately, she was with a lot of men. I know in me reading, it was like she was going through a lot of guys, and maybe one of them overdosed. And it was the group that haunted her. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's so it's hard. It's really hard to say in that scenario, but I just hope. That she didn't spend the rest of her life in that state and, with that kind of depression and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very sad story.
Exactly. That is and again, you guys should go check the movie out. Let us know, hit us up in our DMs. You can hit us up at Strange Darkness Radio on our IG. You can hit us up at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com. If you have a spectrophilia story that you want to tell us about, we won't laugh. We won't make fun. We won't say your name. We won't give your identity or any of that stuff. I don't know what's happening here on the Sky. On Sky, we're just having
concern you, Bobby.
I guess. I don't know even
a little bit.
What's happening here, but they're making fun of me as I'm talking. That's how they do it. But yeah, you guys hit us up and call into our hotline. It's always nice to hear from you guys. Let us know how we're doing. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be live streaming soon. I'm telling you, you guys are going to miss out. And make sure you definitely go to Apple and subscribe. Go to Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Check us out. So that's our little commercial for now. So let's go ahead and move on to something that is also interesting, I should say. We're actually going to take a break, and we will be right back.
Are you in the Sacramento area craving to turn your vision into body art? Sacred Ink, the sanctuary of Diana Cuevas, Sacramento's tattoo virtuoso, awaits you. Step into a realm where creativity thrives and artistry dances to life. Witness the extraordinary talent of Diana Cuevas firsthand, just like our host, Bobby Washington, whose journey at Sacred Ink was truly enchanting. It's now your turn. For tattoos and an experience that transcends the ordinary, visit Sacred Ink. Connect with them on Instagram at Sacred Ink and at Less Tattoos. Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
love that commercial. Anyways, so now we are back, and we're going to get into our last story of the night, which is the one we kind of talked about earlier in the evening. Paulo Flores from Colombia, people, claimed to have had sexual encounter, more than an encounter, because this is a 20-year relationship. Like and in California it's 7 years. If you spend 7 years with somebody, you're damn near married. So so this was more than an encounter, but she's had this experience for 20 years with this particular entity. Let's get into it. I'm gonna doing a lot of editing on this show. This is gonna be very interesting. I love it. Anyways, here we go.
How would you handle this ghostly situation? Let's begin. Paula Flores, a woman from Colombia, claims to have had a unique and deeply personal relationship with a ghostly presence for over 20 years. She describes this entity as a large man with fangs and the face of a gargoyle. According to Paula, this spirit visited her every night, forming an intimate bond that lasted for 2 decades. Tonight, we'll delve into the mysterious and haunting details of Paula's incredible tale, exploring the fine line between reality and the supernatural. Stay tuned.
And that's why I would not entertain anything with a ghost.
Why?
They'll never move
after
out.
20 years, she finally saw his face, and it was hideous.
Well, yeah. Well, she was stupid, first of all, for not asking to see his face in the beginning. Like, I would have asked to see the face first before I did any of that stuff.
Amy, you can't see the thing until it wants to make itself appear. That goes into the whole thing I was asking about, was he in the physical form? So was this guy there in the physical form, and he just always turned his head? Like I don't even understand it. 20 years we're talking. We're not talking about a couple of times.
Right, because she had full-on conversations where he told her she couldn't have other boyfriends or date anybody else, right? So somehow, in some form, he was there, like,
like Love is Blind, how they all act at first, like, oh yeah, I'm here because I want to meet the right person, but then when they actually see each other, they always...
And can I just say, shame on her. She had a 20-year relationship with somebody that she fell in love with, even though it was a ghost, and as soon as she sees his face, she dumps him? Like, what kind of person is that?
Right?
Are you serious right now? Do you want me to describe what the face looked like again? What are you talking about?
That's why I'm saying she's stupid. Why did you wait 20 years to see this thing's face? Like,
because it probably wasn't.
Okay, what?
Maybe he was extra excited.
Amy's saying that she got into the relationship knowing that she didn't know what he looked like. It was all about personality. And then as soon as she actually sees him, all of a sudden...
Yeah, Love was not blind in that situation. She would have failed that show.
Yeah, she should not go on that show.
They
should make a Love is Blind and Ghosts show.
They should, because I am telling you that show... Oh, sorry. Don't get me started on Love is Blind, first of all.
Okay, I don't know why he didn't make his face available, or did he have a shroud
I guess
over
we
it?
know now.
I have no clue. For 20 years, that's a long time. And yeah, she did have these private conversations with this guy, but again, this guy had fangs, had the face of a gargoyle. I mean, that I don't care how nice she is. I don't care. The face of a gargoyle with fangs.
I don't know. 20 years is a long time, though, to have a relationship.
Do you even believe this story?
So I don't like the way you look right now. Sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of mean, like harsh. Like, I mean, I
so
don't
you're
know.
hung
Seems
up
weird to me.
on how she spent the time to deal with this guy for all this particular time. She's had various romps with this person. And then once she sees how he looks, she became like, oh no, you're not the one for me. Like she should have been in love and looked past the face.
Yeah. Well, first of all, did she never have a conversation saying, "What do you look like?" Like, how is that not possible in 20 years? Wouldn't you have said, "What do you look like?"
Okay, I don't know how all these ghost relationships have happened over time, but I don't think anyone's ever said, "What do you look like?"
I don't believe that. If you're having sex with a ghost and he's telling you you're not allowed to date, I'm saying, show me your face. What do you look like?
Right. Give me your stats.
Yeah. To me, that's logical. I mean,
You would really ask.
What's so weird about
you
that,
would really
Bobby?
say, what do you look like?
Yeah.
To the ghost. And their ghost is going to be like, well, what do you want me to look like, Amy?
He's going to be like, I'm 6'4".
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Your upper torso does feel kind of stubby and you do feel like pudgy. I mean, like, you know, I don't really know. And that goes to the whole thing what I was saying. Like, what are you grabbing on? You know what I mean? Like, I can't even visualize that. I can't even imagine that. Yeah. So it's hard for me to picture, and that's why I always.
How could she not tell it was a gargoyle the whole time?
Yeah, right. Wasn't she kissing him and noticed his teeth were digging into her lips?
Couldn't she feel those fangs?
Right. On other parts too, like
there is a lot of sexual positions, Amy, and a lot of them don't involve the face.
I'm sorry. In 20 years, she would have noticed something weird.
Maybe.
Like, for sure, I would say, but
missionary.
But no, he probably never materialized to her. You know, as far as being able to see him. And maybe that one day he was like you said, it's been 20 years. She'll take me even though I look like a gargoyle and I have these horrendous fangs.
She'll never leave me.
Yeah, she'll never leave me. And then next thing you know, damn. Another one. I lost another one. I spent 20 years working on that.
I wish we could get this woman on the show. I got 10,000 questions about how she broke up with him and how he took it when she broke up with him. And why did you not see his face for 20 years? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know about that one. That seems really unbelievable.
See their face, Amy. I don't know if you can see their face. I don't know if you can see their
saw
body.
The face, but she saw the face.
No. I know. I'm saying there's something that happened, you know, that made that visible for whatever the reason. But a lot of these situations, no one ever describes the body or the person. I think you know what I do remember. I think it was Bill Bellamy, the comedian, and he had bought a home. I believe it was in Louisiana, and he talked about how some woman entered his room and he was like, okay, who's this? And he was like waking up from, you know, sleeping. And he thought it was somebody he brought from the party the night before. And they end up doing things. But then she walked away. As she walked away and hit the sliding door, she faded away. So that he describes her in the physical form. But a lot of these other people, they never describe the person in the physical form. So I'm not sure if this guy, and again, who's to say this is even real? Like, you know, that she wasn't having a psychosis or something that she was manifesting herself. And or if it wasn't a neighbor in a sheet.
That could be.
With a hole in it.
If she was in a 20-year relationship with this ghost, did she really like never date anyone for those 20 years? And like, did she tell her family about him? And like, I want to know like what. Okay, let's
get. You guys have the dialogue too, but let's get into some of what she was saying. Because people are like, well, you guys are never said to us what she said or what, you know, what her interpretation of it.
No, I want to hear.
So she said he was a big man. By the day I caught a glimpse of him, he had fangs and the face of a gargoyle. What does that mean? By the day I caught a glimpse of him.
But the day, like, why did it take 20 years to catch a glimpse of him? That's so weird.
Yeah, and how did she see him? Like, was it in the mirror or something? Or
right.
She described him as being a very big man. So it's no Brad Pitt already. So that was out the window.
Yeah, I don't know, but
and then she says the last time I saw his face was when I didn't want to continue. So this interpretation of this dialogue is really weird. But she was just like, I saw.
Wait.
What's up?
What was the last thing she said?
The last time I saw his face was when I didn't want to continue. So, the relationship.
Maybe we need to research her a little bit more. Maybe she has more information on how she broke up with him.
No, well, how she broke up with him is when she saw his face. It was a wrap.
I know, but
there was nothing happening after that.
But she said, no, I'm not going to see you anymore. And then what? That was it? Like he never showed up ever again?
She did an exorcism on her house. And finally got rid of him.
Well, a lot of the people that she was dealing with said it was an incubus or a demonic entity. They come about by being in a low vibration state, meaning, whether she was depressed, whether she was, felt worthless or whatever was going on in her life. And she basically let this demon feed on her or manifested him. And because that's a long, being in a relationship with someone for 20 years, say you're 20, right? And then all the way till you're 40 years old with an entity, a ghost.
That's what I'm saying. That's a long time.
Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense. But again, she says it's real. There's you guys can find pictures of her on the net. It's a very interesting situation, and more so, like, what would you do? We know what Amy would do, I guess. Amy, you wouldn't even leave the person because you would eventually say, you know what, hey.
Well,
I'm invested.
I would have made him show his face like the first night. Like, that's a given.
His jaw would have been dropping off. I was in a car accident. So, okay, I did look like Brad Pitt, though.
That'd be so scary. He's mangled.
He's all shifting his jaw.
Dude.
Everything else works, though. Everything else works.
Carolyn said Carolyn would do the same thing, too. So, not just me. Carolyn, too. That's funny.
That is
but I don't know. It sounded like they had a lot of romance in their relationship. So I don't know.
I don't think he was going out to soirees and parties and shindigs. I don't think that was taking place. I think it was purely a sex-based relationship.
No, she was in love with him. She said she's in love with him, and he told her she's not allowed to date other people. So
but they weren't going to places together. They weren't, at the movies. It was just presents. He was just showing up at 2 a.m. and he left at 2:03. So it was
at 2:01.
Exactly. Yes. But yeah, and it was a wrap. But he was consistent, and I guess that's what matters.
Oh, well, yeah, that's nice to have consistency in a relationship, right?
I guess, whatever.
The bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
She was dancing with him.
I would not have done that, by the way. I'm not having a 20-year relationship with a ghost, with a spirit, without seeing his face. That's not happening.
But wait. You said without seeing his face. So if you saw his face, everything was checked out. Would you do that? Well, for the last part of this, we'll move this whole thing on because again, we don't know if it's real. Hopefully the young lady has she's older now because it wasn't when she was 10. But hopefully she's found a much more realistic spouse or
human
alternative
boyfriend.
Yeah. Even a pet would have been probably better. Not for the other parts. No, just for relationship.
She should get a cat.
Exactly.
She should get a few cats.
Yes. Amy,
okay.
Jesus.
Yes.
This is a wild night. But let's get into our crazy questions of that we're going to ask about what would you do, basically, type deal. Because it's just very interesting to me how people can find themselves in these situations and I don't know, be not normal, but you're okay with it. Like, how would that even be possible to me in my mind for you to be in these situations and be like, oh, okay, I just slept with a ghost and, I'm gonna go to work and blah, blah. And when I get home, maybe they'll come again. Like, how does that, what in your lifestyle would make that okay and not have you question your own insanity of all things, let alone some object moving or you hearing a voice in your home, but the actual, even when people say I'm scratched, right? Everybody freaks out, right? When I'm touched or you hear something, everyone freaks out. Because I've never, out of all things that has happened to me, I've never had any scratches or I've never been touched that I can think of. But people freak out when that happens. So let alone if something untoward happens to you, you definitely think that, you would be like, wait a minute. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I don't think you just easily be like, oh, okay, come and take me now. I mean, I don't think it's as simple as that.
Disclaimer. This podcast explores dark and twisted questions, delving into unsettling topics and thought-provoking scenarios. Listener discretion is advised. This segment is intended for mature audiences. Welcome, listeners, to the mysterious realm of Strange Darkness Radio's Dark Twisted Questions segment. Prepare to embark on a chilling journey into the darkest corners of the human mind, where we confront the unspoken, the bizarre, the eerie, and the truly twisted. Are you ready to delve into these unsettling questions, to gain a glimpse into the deepest recesses of your own psyche? Join us, play along, and ask yourselves, how would you answer these mind-bending conundrums? Brace yourselves for a harrowing mind trip as we traverse the treacherous path of our Twisted Creepy Questions segment. Let's begin.
But let's get these questions out of the way, just a couple. If you find yourself in a situation where a ghost spirit seemed to be making sexual advances towards you, how would you react initially? Would you be scared, intrigued, or something else?
I would be flattered.
I would be scared.
You would? Yeah, I would be scared too, actually.
I would be scared.
Well, it depends. How do they let you know that they're interested?
You gotta use your imagination. I mean,
do they just pop out of nowhere? And
remember what happened to Coco? Maybe it was that type of situation. Wow, wow.
Hey, how did they meet? Did she ever talk about their...
What do you mean?
Their first
The ghost or...
The lady.
What lady?
Both of them. How'd they meet?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Is this the lady?
Coco.
The
Coco
lady
is
from
Ice-T's...
Columbia.
No, we're not even on that no more.
Oh, no.
Coco is Ice-T's. Yeah, he tried to seduce her and she was like, nope, don't even think about it. I don't know what she said, but it didn't go any further than that. So, but no, we're off the Columbia lady. Okay, here. What?
I think it depends on the situation. Like, are you in a creepy haunted asylum and then the ghost comes up and
you're in
and scares the crap out of you, or is it like a meet cute where like you drop your pen on the ground and then the ghost picks it up for you?
Carolyn, no, it's not going to be at a freaking coffee shop. It's
gonna man standing before you.
It's going to be at your house.
Yeah, that is. I agree.
Some creepy
Depends
home.
on the context.
Yeah.
We need the context, Bobby.
I don't care about the context. I'm not getting involved. You guys don't ever forget.
If he's hot.
Yeah, if he's hot and it's like a romantic situation, then it might be okay.
Okay, well, that's sure.
I'm down with
Wait,
that.
say your answer again. Well, you know what? I'll cut my vocal out and let your answer stay. Amy, this is gonna be a wild edit. But anyways.
Good luck, Bobby.
Yeah. Number 2, do you think you would be able to remain calm if you felt a supernatural presence engaging with you sexually? What would be going through your mind?
Well, yeah.
Again, it's a good question.
Doesn't it depend still?
Not for me.
I think 99% of the time I'm going to be freaking out.
Yeah,
you could be froze. I could see a woman freezing for a second to see like, okay, what's happening? I can see the just your mind working.
The fight or flight.
Yeah, because you're trying, you're questioning like, what the heck is going on? Because that goes into the whole thing about the unseen. Like it's, I'm gonna take it that all of this is the person's invisible, to the naked eye, literally. And and to where, so you're like, And you can, let's say you even see the imprint of the hands or something like that. That would even be more creepier. Because, and that's what I was saying.
I don't want that.
Yeah, you can't even touch the person. Like, I've never heard of anyone being able to physically touch somebody. You know what I mean? Like, that's not there to have some type of substance. You know what I mean? So to me, it would be totally just crazy. It wouldn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So that's what I don't understand about this whole situation. At least I can't play it in my mind to where it's like, okay, how would that? In a dream, you can see the full body. You can visualize a person or visualize an entity because it's a dream, right? But in reality, again, the Belle Bellamy thing he said she walked into the room and she was a physical, real person that he thought was real. But all the others were saying it's some supernatural entity that's invisible for the most part. But the Colombian lady did say she felt him and he was big. So I don't know, maybe you could feel, Well,
that's why she liked him.
No, he was packed. Wow. Wow. Will that make the airwaves? We shall see. Okay, and here's the other thing. With all that's being said, I think we stop at number 3 because number 3 is very interesting. From an ethical standpoint, would you view a consensual sexual encounter with a spirit or ghost? Is it something you would ever see yourself being open to? So again, from an ethical standpoint, would you view a consensual, like how is this ghost asking for consent? How are you giving consent? You know what I mean? Like from a standpoint.
Like you're worried that the ghost is not consenting?
No, that he's
the human.
No, he didn't say, Amy, I'm gonna rub your butt right now. Is that okay? I mean, so it's just happening. So therefore, that is.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he's not asking for anything. You didn't give him a wink of an eye or whatever signs to move in. You know what I mean? So like, how is this not?
That is a good point. Like when we were researching for this, I was wondering that for all the, consensual instances of this happening, I'm like, how is it consensual? How do you consent to a ghost?
Yeah.
And how does that whole situation even happen?
Exactly. And this thing happens a lot. I mean, so this is not something, is this really playing out in people's minds or is this real?
I wonder if it's almost like a manifestation thing in some cases, like the entity lady, only not so much of a tormented, traumatizing thing, but more like a loneliness thing. Like maybe these people are just so lonely and they just so badly want someone to be there with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And as far as the entity lady,
manifests.
Yeah, she had a lot of men, like, going in and out of the house. And then at some point, though, she didn't because she was either half drunk or she was in some, crazy state. So she, she wasn't seeing anyone at the time, not that I saw anyways. So maybe she was manifesting these situations or the longing to, to be around someone.
Have some drama or something.
Yeah.
I think she had a boyfriend though, and that was going on. And because he was so terrified of what was happening, he actually broke up with her. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't think that was the case where she was lonely and longing for somebody.
Yeah. So again, Amy, how would you give consent? And if they didn't get consent, would you be okay with it? Even if it was Brad Pitt.
Hey, I joke around about it.
We're gonna say Brad Pitt.
Yeah, no. Realistically, no. I do not want a relationship or any physical experiences with a ghost.
Exactly.
No,
yeah,
probably not. Even if it looked like Brad Pitt, I don't think I would want that. That's creepy.
It's dead. I mean, it's whatever, but it's not the living is my thing. And who knows what it really is. It's freaking demonic. Look at Carolyn's just smiling away like, I don't know though.
I'm maybe, I don't know.
Depends on my mood for the day, but I think realistically, probably no, I don't want it, but maybe on a different day.
It depends.
Both of you guys would run for the hills.
I might be open to it on certain days.
Both of you guys, I think at the end of the day, I don't care what day it was, if it really happened to you, you'd run for the hills. and screaming in terror, talking about, oh my God. Because again, just the even mere touch of some entity touching you would probably freak you out.
You have to give consent, though. They have to ask you, and you give consent. No. That's the difference, though.
No, but that was
the question, though.
No, but the question is, how do they give? There's no way they can really give consent.
But your question was literally, would you just would you consent?
Oh yeah. But I went beyond that only because you really. How do you do that? The ghost is there in, nothing's happening, right? And then you're like, oh, the can just moved across the kitchen. But you know what? You can get it, though. We can go in the bedroom. Come on. How does that work? Come on, really. So, no, you're not going to be thinking about that, to give something consent. Like, lady, I wouldn't touch you if I was dead. Damn, I am. So come on, it doesn't make any sense. So whatever it is, it would have to seduce you or do something to you to get you in a state to where, oh, okay, this is something's different about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there would have to be something.
Ghost would have to set the mood a little bit.
Yeah, flick on a candle.
Some music. Yeah, light some candles.
Why is Sam Cooke playing from the 60s and this little guy who died in, 1969? And, but yeah, I don't know. But that's our crazy topic on this crazy night of, what do you want to call it? Longing situations. Encounters of the night.
Encounters.
Yeah.
Look at Amy. Amy's like,
what?
Amy, would you though, for reals? Like, if a ghost approached you? No, you wouldn't.
I don't think
You'd be too freaked out.
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I'd rather have a real relationship with a real person. I don't.
Well,
no.
I'm not talking about relationship wise. I'm just talking about in the standpoint of you've never been scratched or touched. Well, even then, I don't think you were touched, but yeah, that whole situation, because a lot of people who are scratched, they don't even know they've been scratched. Those whelps and scratches appear later and like, oh, this happened. So no, I've never seen no one say, look at me. I see people say, oh, I'm getting hot on my chest. Let me look at it. And then they have the scratches, but no one actually feels the touch of a person or the touch of something on you. And then that might, change your whole, like... You might just pull a R. Kelly and, use a bathroom on yourself or something like that were to happen. And
use a what? Use what?
Pull a R. Kelly and pee on yourself. If someone were to touch you.
Oh, did he pee on himself?
No, he'd have people pee on him. Come on, Amy. Amy is slow to the. She's slow. Carolyn got it right off.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time since I've heard about that case.
That would have made the story so much better, though, if you did.
Wow.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what I thought you were saying. Yeah. Okay, very interesting.
But yeah, no, I'm just saying, like.
I wonder if that's a thing. Is that a fetish?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
For ghosts?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean are we out of the ghost realm? For ghosts? No, we haven't heard that one. Out of all the craziness I've heard, I've not heard that one. This is the wheels have come off. But anyways,
episode, you guys.
Yeah, exactly. This is just a fun episode of craziness, and but again, these things do go on, and they're very intriguing and interesting. And again, if this has happened to you, hit us up, tell us about it. Just because we have so many questions about, how did you know the person was there, or was this just something that I don't know, like a invisible sex toy. Let me put it that way. That's the best description I can think to give it, because it's nothing you can touch, nothing you can see, but something's happening to you. It is the best description. And that's from the male and the female standpoint, because I don't get the concept of it. As Amy's just sitting there like,
we can tell.
Work your way out of that box that you just put yourself in. But yeah, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, do you guys get that? Like, how that concept of even, unless it's material, It doesn't make any sense
I mean,
to me.
you can feel it in the parts that need
That's
to
what
be
I'm
felt.
saying.
You don't have to be holding on to something, you know. I think that's what it comes down to.
But then who's to say even what it is? You know what I mean? Male, female, demonic, a stick figure ghost or stick figure demon. Like, how do you interpret? Oh, it was a human, or it was a male, even. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I wouldn't even like.
You
no.
can't.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm off.
That's the whole point.
I'm out. I'm out from the get-go. But yeah. So anyways, that's our crazy topic for tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you've had any encounters, let us know. You guys have anything to say? As this show is long as hell, will be cut down significantly. But and then Carolyn's just laughing away. Amy's just smiling. Like,
no, that was a very interesting topic. I had fun discussing that one, and
yes,
I don't know. I guess I got to think about some more scenarios with that happening, and what would be my limits and what I'd be okay with. But at this point, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no right off the top. And Carolyn's up for it.
Huh?
I said you're up for it.
Yeah, maybe. I thought that this topic was going to be super like uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah.
Just because what it is. But no, it was actually really interesting, and it was it was a good topic.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's the show for tonight. Ladies, anything else?
No, I'm good.
I think that's it.
Alrighty. And we are out.
As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a fifth dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.